Today is going to be a great video. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today's video is going to be on a now increasing trend for SJW type movies, and that is going to be talking about the flop that is Charlie's Angels and why apparently it is flopped according to director Elizabeth Banks. So we have 3 articles, and they're all provided by boundingintocomics.com. I will leave the links for these articles in the description below if any of you guys care to read further than what I'm going. I'm going to cover them lightly because I could easily just ramble on about each one for separate videos, but I just want to try to cover them all in one, and I don't want this to be super long of a video. So let's get right into the first one. So this is leading up to the movie's release and what the thoughts from Elizabeth Banks were on the movie. She states on Charlie's Angels, women are the audience and the message is to believe women. Director Elizabeth Banks is already starting to make the press rounds for her upcoming Charlie's Angels films, and in one of the most recent interviews she claims the movie is to send a message to believe women. Speaking with Collider, Banks makes it clear that her film will send a message, and that message is to believe women. One of the statements this movie makes is that you should probably believe women. It's the idea that she says to probably believe women instead of being more confident saying that you actually should believe women. We have as much validity in what we're feeling and how we want to go about living in the world, being in the world, and that was really important to me, that we felt like we had characters that were being taken seriously and given the chance to live their best life. So, I mean, lightly covering, she is stating that she is highlighting the feminist roots and sticking to the original idea. Honestly, felt that the property had all of the bona fides of feminism already built in. I really didn't have to do much other than honor its entire history. And I mean, with that, the only thing that they did was they really took out the sexuality in this movie and kind of focused more on just strictly the idea of fighting crime and trying to, show the women as being very, very empowered, when part of the original Charlie's Angels idea was that they're empowered not only in what they do as far as solving crimes and through the police academy, what they did before, and just being badass, but it was being empowered with their sexuality. And so right here it covers it too. Elizabeth Banks would then be asked about one of the franchise's best known factors, how it handles women's sexuality. She makes it clear that early in the film they dismissed it outright. And from what we saw in the trailer, this appears to be the case. We play with that trope and then we dismiss it pretty early on in the movie. The women in this film use their brains and their wits. We had a mantra which was we were going to fight smarter, not harder. And I mean, again with that, part of the aspect that drew people in was the sexuality aspect. Not that everyone was just trying to objectify women, but they were confident with who they were, and that was something that people enjoyed watching. So, I mean, it's funny because she says we dismissed it outright from the beginning, but in the trailer they show Kristen Stewart whipping her own ass. So, in a way, it kind of just plays against itself. There's no romance really in the movie. There's not a big romance, particularly in this movie. We have a little romance, but the movie is really about women working together and solving a crime story. And so the important part of this article is right here. Banks would then go on to discuss that when she was specifically looking for a diverse cast for the film, she also noted that the audience for the film is women. When we were casting the movie, I wanted really fresh faces. I wanted a diverse cast. It's important that women, the audience for this movie, make sure to remember that, sees themselves in some part of this movie. I think that's really important. I wanted the audience to feel a sense of ownership over the film, that they could be in this movie, that they could live in this world. It's a real message. It's a movie that I want to entertain all audiences, but I did want to make something that felt important to women and especially young girls. So, I mean, there's the proof right there for what's going to come to why this failed and what Elizabeth Banks is not apparently aware of. So with that said, the movie was made by women, for women, marketed to women. Remember that, because here's why it failed. Elizabeth Banks and Kristen Stewart's woke Charlie's Angels bombs at the box office. I'm sorry, this just makes me happy because I love seeing the woke society have nothing but failure after failure after failure after failure with trying to get their message across because people are just not buying into it. They're not going to use their hard-earned money to waste on trash like this just because what the people that make these kinds of movies are making is trash. Just because they have to make trash doesn't mean they have to waste their money on it. The woke Charlie's Angels film from director Elizabeth Banks, starring Kristen Stewart, has utterly bombed the box office on its opening weekend. The film reportedly only brought in $3.15 million at the box office on its opening night and is not expected to make more than $10 million in its opening weekend. But down here it says, from numbers, reports that the film only made $8.6 million in its opening weekend, and that's domestically. That's terrible, because this movie was made around, I'd say, like what, $40 million to actually produce, and then marketing on top of that, I'd say times that by 1.5, if not 2, so about $80 million to break even. So these results are way worse than most conservative estimates, according to the Box Office Pro. Box Office Pro has previously predicted the film would bring in between 25 to 35 million in its opening weekend, citing Kristen Stewart and Naomi Scott as positives, as well as the demand for more high-profile tentpole films led by empowering female characters. No, what people want is a good movie with a good story. They don't need SJW agenda-driven movies, and that's one thing that this movie is as a whole. It is agenda-driven, and they take a lot of stupid little jabs at dudes throughout the whole movie. And it's not that guys are really going to complain. How we're going to talk about it is by not going to actually see this movie. So, and that's going to be very crucial for the next one, the next article. But let's finish this one up real quick. However, those predictions would drop dramatically leading up to the film's release on November 13th. Box Office Pro tempered their expectations, predicting the film would only make in between 10 to 17 million. So it's more than likely Charlie's Angels will lose money, as Deadline reports. Sony says the feature cost a net of 48 million. That's even lower than what I thought it was. With co-financing from Perfect World and 2.0 Entertainment. However, they note, we've heard the net is in the mid 50 million. That's terrible. This makes Charlie's Angels the worst opening in Charlie's Angels franchise. The original Charlie's Angels film opening weekend was 40.1 million, while Charlie's Angels Full Throttle opened to 37.6 million. The original Charlie's Angels 2000 would go to bring in 125.3 million domestically, while Full Throttle would top off at 100.8 million. So, and I mean, the tomato score also sits at 59%, 118 critics with an average rating of 5.85 out of 10, 70 freshes, 48 rottens. So, yeah, just this movie just overall bombed. And so again, this movie was made by women, for women, marketed to women. So, Charlie's Angels director Elizabeth Banks blamed men for box office failure nearly a week before it hit theaters. So, with this one, it pretty much is stating that she knew before it even hit theaters that this movie was going to tank. And the worst part for her is she's a producer. So, she's losing money no matter what. Even if she's a director and she can make money, because she produced the movie, she's still losing money. And bashing half your audience, now they're audience members, because she doesn't necessarily want men to see this movie and want their criticism. She just wants their money. But let's dig into this one real quick, because this is quite interesting. Charlie's Angels director Elizabeth Banks blamed men for the film's box office failure nearly a week before the film hit theaters, again predicting that the movie was going to be trash, because it was. In an interview with Australia's Herald Sun, Banks spoke on why the film needs to make money and who is to blame if it doesn't. She stated, look, people have to buy tickets to see this movie too. No, they don't. Just because you put in so much money for trash does not mean the general audience needs to, again, spend their money on your trash. This movie has to make money. If this movie doesn't make money, it reinforces a stereotype in Hollywood that men don't go see women do action movies. Yes, they do. They just don't go see trash movies. And what you're trying to say is, just because we don't see this movie, we're sexist, and if you want to not be sexist, you better see this movie. That doesn't make any sense at all. So, Banks then bemoaned men's taste in films and specifically pointed out Wonder Woman, saying, men only went to see the movie because it was a precursor to Justice League. No, Wonder Woman was a good movie. I'm not a superhero movie person, but from everybody I know that saw it, it was a great movie. It was a good start to really showing the potential, especially that was, again, a movie made by women, starring women, but it was for everybody. And it was a good movie. And that's why it has a sequel coming out, or a prequel coming out not too long from now. So they'll go see a comic book movie with Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel because that's a male genre. So even though those are movies about women, they put them in a context of feeding the larger comic book world. So it's all about, yes, you're watching a Wonder Woman movie, but we're setting up 3 other characters, or we're setting up Justice League. As for why she believes the film needs to make money, it's all about power for banks, and she wants it. By the way, I'm happy with those characters to have box office success, but we need more women's voices supported with money, because that's the power. The power is in the money. She would reinforce this view by stating she and those like her need to take control of Hollywood. That said, we're in charge of Hollywood, we're the stars, we can do it, we have to take control of this, and I feel like I'm a part of a new class that feels the same way, like it's our time now. In a more recent interview with the Wall Street Journal, Banks would also seemingly target superhero movies, this time Spider-Man, addressing concerns that audiences are not interested in more reboots. So then what in the hell was what you made? That was a reboot, and you're saying that the audiences are not interested in more reboots. Or was yours supposed to be the last one, and now people don't care, as far as your mentality on all this is concerned? Banks stated, you've had 37 Spider-Man movies and you're not complaining. There have only been 7 Spider-Man movies. Or there have only been 7... Wait. You've had 37 Spider-Man movies and you're not complaining. There have only been 7 Spider-Man movies. I don't understand how that makes sense at all. She would then play the victim in cards stating, I think women are allowed to have more than 1 and 2 action franchises every 17 years. I feel totally fine with that. With that said, it's funny that she really is trying to really blame everybody except for who actually is at fault for this, because of the fact that, I mean, you look at movies, you got Underworld, Hunger Games, Rogue One, Tomb Raider, Alien, Resident Evil, Alita, Battle Angel. Those are all female-led movies. Those did well. So, I mean, Wonder Woman was, again, made by a woman, was directed by a woman, and it was for everybody, but it did well. And it's just funny because it's just, from the box office numbers, it looks like the women didn't even go to see this movie either. So she's hating guys in replacement for the audience that she actually was targeting, which is absolutely stupid. And it's pretty much just like her anger comments are really just an admission that her movie is terrible. That's what I'm getting out of it. And I know it's hitting her hard because it's more impacting her wallet than anything else, and that's why she's mad. Again, she's a producer on this movie too, so not only just an actress and a director, but she produced it, so therefore, no matter what, she is losing money. It's, I don't know, just her comments are just absolutely ridiculous. It's women were the target audience, and men are to blame because men didn't show up. So it's just absolutely stupid. It's just making a movie that's sexist against men and then hating them when they don't show up. So it's almost like, and also too, I mean, she's insulting the success of the females led movies that did make money. So I mean, she's not doing anything to help her cause. But I mean, what do you guys think? This is to me, it's hilarious because it just shows again the next line of SJW movies that are not going to succeed. And to me, this needs to be noticed by Hollywood to stop trying to mess with good movies. Stop rebooting trash. Stop trying to change up franchises that are already solidified and just let them be as they are. And if it's not meant for certain audiences, it's not meant for certain audiences. And if it is meant for your audience and they don't show up, you have to not only stop hating on those that didn't show up, but you need to look at yourself and see, why did I make a trash movie, or why did I make a movie that wasn't successful, and really look at the root cause for why it didn't succeed. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. If you like this content and want to see more, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new movie goes up. And if you like this video, please give it a like and a share. It does really help the channel and helps me to be able to do videos like this for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.